Hey there,
I'm Yukitsu.
This is Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel. A little bit more Shogun 2 Total War. We're going to allow mixed avatars and jump right in here. I've got an army set up here. It's a little bit more cavalry heavy. I've got 2 bow archers. I've got 3 of the mounted Yaris, and I've got my swords. Basic stuff, pretty simple stuff. 3 units of Matchlock Ashigaru, which is a little bit heavy on the Matchlock Ashigaru, but I like them quite a bit, and they're a very versatile unit and very strong unit. No foot archers this match, but we're going to head on. There's no good routes for me to take right now, so I'm just going to beeline it straight through the north over to this region with the Naginata Samurai. This looks like it's going to be taking a little while, so I'll cut out the wait, and I will see you as soon as I get a match. And we're back. As you can see, I'm against a 9-star Silver General, which is, again, going to be a pretty tricky opponent. He's got a very balanced general, which is a little bit different. We're on Rivertown, which is a fairly open map. It's a pretty good one. The buildings can get in the way of my guns. They won't get in the way of archery if he takes archers, so I might be at a little bit of a disadvantage there. But my bow cavalry can sort of make up for that a little bit. Swords are very good here. I don't need too many spears since I can hide behind buildings, and of course I've got these Yari cavalry. So he's ready. I'm gonna just hit ready right away. I think we're in a good position here. 9 Silver Star General though, can never underestimate them. They're very strong generals. What I'm probably going to do though is go for the buildings, the capture points in this map, instead of trying to take that hill, just because I find that more advantageous, which is why I was saying things like buildings. The hill itself is more, well, we'll see what's going on. Sometimes it might be advantageous to take the hill. But yeah, this is one of those interesting maps that I tend to do either very well with or I do very poorly with, just because of the way it's set up. It's a bit binary like that. I forget if they added a second dojo somewhere on this map or if the only one's up in the north along near that town. If it's split between 2, then I might be in a little bit of trouble, because what I remember doing is contesting the village for the shrine, and then winning that way. But if there's a second one now, then I might be in trouble. I think there might be one in the bottom left corner of the map nowadays. We'll just have to see how things go, though. He's got Stricken Unholy Forge. I get -1 armor, so that will cancel out my famous armory. Okay, good. They are still where I remember them being. They're both up in the north. So I'm going to try and fight over them, rather than trying to fight over the hillside over here. I'm going to have those stretched out. I'm going to push these guys way the heck up here. And they're going to slowly advance in the sword dojo, since I want to capture that. And that'll give me a lot of extra time capturing, assuming that he can't rush it with cavalry. And if he can, I can keep them hidden further back, and that'll let me get in there before he can do too much damage to them. Except for those guys. And I'm going to have my cavalry ready over here, because I want to sort of harass his units as they try and move forward. 2, 3. Okay. So, going to advance my army forward. Let's see what he's got. Looks like he has got some bows, which is a little bit different. They're Ashigaru. He's got some very good sword attendants, which is a little bit peculiar. Katana Samurai, unveteraned. He's got 3 of the Katana Samurai. He's got some Yari Samurai. And he's got Naginata Warrior Monks. So he's got some very good units. He's also got some fairly strange units, in my opinion. And I think he must be missing something. Something must be hidden. So we'll see what that is. He looks like he's going for the hill, but I'm going for the buildings here. He's hidden his cavalry up in the trees over here. Looks like they're going to head on out now as well. I'm going to get my guns in position here. See if he's dumb enough to charge straight down here. Nope. His general's running about. He's got a good mix of stats, so I can't do anything in particular to him. He doesn't have any specific weaknesses. And yeah, looks like things are going pretty well. Nothing too crazy going on here. Mounted archers are getting some shots against his Yari Cav, and I've almost captured the melee dojo. Okay, so he's coming at me from that sort of hillside. I'm out of position, so I'm going to move back a bit. I think I can get charge there. This I'm going to have to pay close attention to. Okay. And let's get the hell out of there, since not where you want to be. Okay, so things are going a little bit hectic here already. In fact, everything's really hectic already, but you know, it's how things go sometimes. Okay, so those are just Ashigaru, so I don't have to worry too much about them. This is obviously, as you can see, a fairly micro-intensive battle. Okay, so his general got too close.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord.
I don't think his general's immune to spears, so this is going to work out just fine. Yeah, it looks like his general's going to get caught and die. Or rout. He's down to 9 men. He's still gonna probably hang out with that. That's one of my cav units gone, however. The unfortunate thing. These guys aren't firing, which is a little bit odd. Okay, things are going all kinds of crazy over there. Fortunately, those are just attendant units. And let's try and slip past these guys. Slam into these guys in the back. And that'll clear out that flank for me. Oops. Was not paying attention there, so those guys got caught. And they're gonna get killed. Fortunately, I can stretch these guys out like this. Got spears around back here. Going to run these guys back. Gonna make sure these guys are defending my general. Things look like they're going pretty well here. Bocav, I think, can get a good charge off against these archers here. And hopefully these gunners will get a shot off against that cav before they get owned here. Doesn't look like they will, though. So let's countercharge them. Pile some more infantry in there. Looks like those guys are about to run. So I got my Bocav into his archers. That'll disrupt them, but unfortunately I wasn't paying attention, so his Naginata warrior monks have gotten a countercharge against me over there. But that's kept them out of the main fight, so that's also fine. Gonna go hunting his general with our Yaris here. And we're gonna go wrap up this flank with these guys just in case. Our matchlocks haven't been of huge importance, but I think they did keep him away from my army for long enough to really let me pound on him. Okay, so these guys gonna get in, gonna get out. Okay, you need to type those Naginata warrior monks. Swordsmen need to get over there as well. Probably in the way of my own gun arcs, but that's okay. He's going to charge my bows, but that's perfectly fine. That's his general, away from the main battle line. So, you know, given the choice between having your general take out an inconsequential, heavily damaged unit, or contributing leadership to the army as a whole, like, he chose the wrong thing. He needed that leadership badly for his general. Just gonna target his general with my guns, and it's not even gonna matter. He's not gonna make it. Okay, so this was a very hectic battle, and I actually really enjoyed it because there was just so much going on all the time. With those Bo Ashigaru, my opponent could keep me zoned out a little bit, out of my element, but he sort of mismanaged that attack on the left flank with his cavalry and his general. In particular, letting his general get that depleted was very dangerous. It made it so he couldn't keep his general close to the fight, whereas mine, who was basically full health, could stick right in the middle of things, and that was a lot more advantageous for me. He lost a lot of his cavalry, but I should have really been able to nail that cavalry advantage home a little bit more strongly. I had 3 Yari cavalry against his 2, but again, melee general potentially has a lot of killing capability, so on the other hand, there was that. So I'm not too surprised that I lost 2 full Yari units to his general and 1 Yari unit, so it's a pretty even exchange in all honesty, but you know, would have been nice if I'd won that. Okay, so on our way up to rank 5. That'll be a while from now, though. Gets pricey pretty quickly. We've got Hoki, which is useless. It gives me a new retainer that I'm not going to use. Cold Snap, -10 reload for enemy bow units. Like I said, bow units aren't popular right now, so it's not that useful. Like, he brought 2 Bo Ashigaru, but they're basically throwaway units. They're very inexpensive. Another Yari Ashigaru. I've got plenty of veteran Yari Ashigaru, so I won't use that. Let's see here. My Waco Raiders did excellent. 199 kills on these guys. 65 of them were lost, but they were the ones on my left flank. They were doing a great job just churning through multiple units. My veteran Samurai, 77 kills. Not sure why they have so few casualties. Must have been running down people who were already running. The other one, the White Masks, 157 kills. That's really good. 135 with the vanilla units. Surprised they weren't the ones that leveled up. So this Yari Ashigaru, 1,225 XP. Not sure where they got that all from. They must have wiped out that Yari cavalry unit. The other one, roughly even. They were probably running down fleeing people. My Matchlock Ashigaru did fairly poorly, but I wasn't paying that much attention to them. They weren't really the main force that I was going to be concentrating around, and they weren't really that crucial to my army defeating his, because I could beat him in a straight-up melee combat. My cavalry, they all did as I explained earlier. Typically what happens with cavalry is you end up getting about the same number of kills as you have lost. That's because cavalry tends to sort of cancel each other out on the battlefield. That's how you sort of use them. The one that was free and were veterans, at the end of the battle were able to clean up a little bit stronger. Getting 70 kills, they only lost 30 men, and they got a level in the process. My bow cavalry, they actually did a lot more relevant work than it looks from their kill statistics, but 75 and 96, those are both very good numbers. My opponent, Naginata attendance, absolute garbage. Sword attendance, absolute garbage. Even with all that veterancy, like these are probably something like 600 Koku units. They can't do anything. They're just so weak. What he was able to do with them, I suspect, normally, is capture shrines with far less people and far less money expended, even if you're attacked by like cavalry units that are going to try and knock you off of it and get you away from there. These are... You only really need Naginata attendants. It would have been better if you had 2 veteran Naginata attendant units. And the reason you need them to be veteran is Naginata attendant units can actually lose against Yari cavalry, which is really depressing. But it's just the way they sort of work. Bo Ashigaru, they were allowed to fire for a lot longer than I honestly should have let them. But they didn't do all that much. His Naginata warrior monks, very scary units, but they didn't get in the main fight. They were stuck in that side fight, guarding that one flank. His Yari Samurai are absolute trash. I would never recommend taking them, really. 55 kills on one is really good. I'm not really sure what he was attacking, but apparently it was something that he could get a good number of kills from them on. His Katana Samurai, generally about the same. Ironically, that's really bad. One of them managed to get 75 kills, though, before being almost wiped out. His Yari Cavalry, sort of on average about the same. Between the two of them, they sort of got the same number of kills that they had losses between the two of them. So, pretty much as expected. Anyway, that was a good match, good game to my opponents, and we'll see you for the next match. And we're back. As you can see, we've got ourselves a rank 5 opponent, also using a fairly vanilla standard army. What I want to do for this one, I might actually switch up my retainers a little bit, get rid of this untrained Fugu Cook. Actually, let's get rid of the famous armory this time. Take the livestock pestilence and we'll get the untrained Fugu Cook back. And the reason I actually do want that is because I've got a fairly limited sword army. We're on Kansai Wood. He's a balanced army, journey leader, swordsman. So he's a little bit balanced all around again. Let's see. I've got more bows this time. I've got a few of these sort of retainer units, my matchlocks, my good spear units, and then I've got my general katanas. I spent a little bit more on cavalry this time since I've taken that fire cavalry. I want to have that mobility here. But yeah, this is a little bit... this shouldn't be too difficult compared to some of the other people I've played against, but you should never underestimate a 5-star general. They can definitely pull out surprises against you. He's going to have a general that's a little bit better than melee. I'm not sure how much he's leaned in that direction. He might actually be good enough at it that I'm going to have a bit of difficulty killing him, but if I get him into my fire cavalry, I'll definitely win that exchange. So I just want to watch out for whatever sort of crazy units he might have, since this army set up... I don't think I've set my army set up that well to counter a mounted gun army composition. And the reason I didn't set it up in that way is that I don't think they're great in this particular map. But I could be wrong. Just in case, though, I did add that livestock pestilence because that reduces the speed of cavalry. Now, I want both the shrine and the armory, but if I had to pick or choose, I would rather get the armory. So I'm going to deploy my army a little bit to the left, and that'll give me a little bit more control over that building. And then I'll send a contingent of retainers over to capture the other building. And if I can do that, I should be golden. In all odds, he's going to stop me from capturing one or the other, either by forcing me to get into the fight before either of us can capture anything, or through other means. So we'll have to find out how he reacts to this. I know how I would react to that. It's to just head straight towards him and try and push him off the shrine. But that's just me, very aggressive, in-your-face kind of guy. Anyway, get our hotkeys set up. I basically am going to make a sword attendant sandwich here. This way they can't be sort of really rear charged by cavalry. I'm going to support them with cavalry if I have to, but they're just going to go over there to go capture that building. They're a little bit expensive for that, but you know, this way I can have one of the units fend off whatever cavalry decides to push them off, while the rest of my army goes to return back to my army. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bow samurai, and then the rest of his army is katana samurai. He has absolutely no cavalry. So yeah, if I can split his army by forcing him to go in different directions, that would be great. He took a while before he started moving, so he has no spears either, I should point out. So this is a very different army, and I would not argue that this is an effective way to set up your army. I think this is actually a very poor way to do it. Just because, like, there are so many weaknesses to that particular army style. As far as if, like, I cavalry spammed, he would have been instantly killed. I didn't, fortunate enough for him. But on the other hand, he does have a lot of strong sword units, so he could potentially just overwhelm me in melee. We'll have to see what happens. But not one to sit around and play nice guy. Going to get started. Actually, not yet. He's stopped moving again. Let's see how this goes. Looks like he's going to start... I have no idea what this formation is, actually. I think he might have just hit the button for flying crane. Not positive. But in any event, I'm not too worried about what he's doing here. So he's decided to sort of camp, which is really odd because he's decided to camp right out in the open. Maybe he's got some sort of hidden unit that he wants to have swoop around the side at the end of the capture phase. I'm not really sure, but not in any event, he should really be stopping me from capturing something, basically. Okay, so the general strategy with these guys is capture the shrine, and then get ready to sort of support around from the back, and hopefully they'll be able to do whatever is needed to be done from there. Cavalry is going to try and attack from sort of all sides, but I don't really mind having to skirmish against this sort of composition. I don't think he's actually the sort of person who's going to be able to manage his bows particularly well, just because he's got them sort of spread out so I can fight them piecemeal. Guns, on the other hand, going to be a little bit awkward to use. Okay, so I captured the shrine. Just going to start moving those guys up. That's captured as well. I've now got 10 minutes before I automatically win this battle, since that's how that works. In fact, I'm going to just run the clock down and see what happens. He has to move eventually. He didn't take the impetus to move forward. In all honesty, he could have, and it would have been much stronger for him to do so. But, yeah. He says, I have set up my own formation. It is very pretty. But yeah, what he's doing is sort of, I think, a variation of a noob box, maybe. I think he figures that I'll try and attack from the front, and at that point we'll just sort of have difficulties of some vague nature. But on the other hand, I can sort of just sit here and I will eventually win. So this might be an incredibly boring match. I will fast forward it if he does in fact just wait 10 minutes. You know, I might, you know what? I'm going to risk losing just doing something incredibly silly, and that is I'm going to actually go and attack this guy. There's no reason for me to attack here. If I just sat there, it would have let me win anyway, since I've captured both buildings. The timer's going down. So I'm going to move my units around a little bit. That'll be fine. But yeah, this is a very peculiar situation. So the thing is, like, I don't actually have a very aggressive army as far as moving in charging goes. So what I'm going to do is just sort of screen my units, try and take them out and down this sort of weaker point at the center, and we'll see how things go from there. Anyway. Let's get these guys into bow range. These guys back there. As soon as he's fired on those guys, I'll be able to start moving my archers up. Actually, I can start moving my archers up beforehand. I'll start firing soon enough. Okay, so might I remind you, this is a very bad idea. Very, very poor idea. You should never attack when you don't have to like this. But, you know, so he's firing away at the wrong unit there, obviously. But these guys are literally just there to soak up shots, so that's fine. So, yeah, this is probably going to get me killed just because, I mean, this is not how you should assault this sort of formation, but it is how I am assaulting this formation. Okay, so I've got a charge in with my cav. Gonna get right back out. Same thing over here. My guns are in position. They're gonna start firing a bit. Screening unit's broken, but that's fine. Just going to cycle in and out with my cavalry here, just like last time. Much better positioned this time to do it. Actually, let's just break them from behind here. I can sort of stick that out a little bit there and they'll panic. Anyway, yeah, this is a fairly different battle. I would actually argue that this is a very different battle. There goes another Naginata attendant. I'm going to retreat back with my cavalry again. Let's run in with these spears. Let's get my general closer into the fray here. Most of his archers have been taken out. Yeah, this is a little bit different. Let's charge in again with that cavalry. This cavalry back out. Get them back around here, and yeah, just practice my micro essentially. We went from 69 to like 50 from that charge, so you know, it was a good charge. And that will be that particular game. That was very different. Kudos to my opponent for trying something new, I suppose. But yeah, I can't honestly say that I approve of that particular strategy. It's got a lot of sort of weaknesses, and it's not what I would say particularly great at anything in particular. Like, it can't rush particularly well, and it can't skirmish because it can't protect its archers all that well. So it's a little bit odd, a little bit different. Must say that I was a bit surprised seeing it. But yeah, that's one of those things that you see from time to time. Would I ever actually play that? Maybe, actually, just to sort of show something silly if I ever feel like doing something silly. It wouldn't be that exact composition, but something equally kind of strange. Alright. Onward and upward with another useless retainer. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get into naval battles relatively soon. I just don't think that they're that good in this particular case. I'd much prefer the ones in Fall of the Samurai and even in Empire and Napoleon Total War. Those naval battles are much more interesting, much more dynamic, but these ones are fairly dull. Another Yari Cavalry, I'll name them later, but yeah, these guys are very good to have. Veteran Yari Cavalry are always a good addition. Check out our unit statistics. My general picked away, got 5 kills with this bow, or 6 kills with this bow, I mean. First unit, my only unit of veteran Katana Samurai, got 93 kills, but lost 69 men. Kind of surprised about that. I got 86 kills and 63 kills on my other units. That's not too terrible. They were, after all, fighting Katana Samurai. Unveteran, that was the reason I'm a bit surprised by these guys' performance. My Aori Ashigaru all did surprisingly well. 92 kills, 25 kills. The last one, my Long Yari Ashigaru, I didn't really fight with them. They were just getting shot at. My Matchlock Ashigaru, a lot of kills, 81. They set up in a good position and just got to sit there. My 2 Bow Samurai did virtually nothing since I was in melee so quickly, and since they're firing at heavy armor units, they just didn't really have a chance to get those kills. My Yari Cavalry Both of them did fairly well, but one of them obviously did far better. I think that was the one on the right flank that I was cycle. No, it must have been the one on the left that I was cycle charging in conjunction with the fire cavalry. It must have gotten a lot of kills running down people that were fleeing. Fire cavalry, 187 kills, very strong, very good. My attendants, they were all sacrificial. They did their job as they should. Let's look at his army composition. It was, in fact, just 6 bow samurai and 6 katana samurai. Very interesting, but not very effective, apparently. His general did get 59 kills, though, so that's very good for him. His bow samurai, bow samurai can get a few kills, but you have to sort of skirmish with them, and there was no way in hell I was going to skirmish with 6 bow samurai. Just not happening. His katana samurai, they did okay. One of them got 51 kills, one of them got 45 kills, but that's not really wonderful. What the problem with that was they were all chain routing so quickly because of the attack that I did on them. And it wasn't even too coordinated of an attack. I could have spent a lot more time setting up, so I was attacking from all sides, but I didn't. So, you know, that general sort of charge in his frontal arc was sufficient to get his units to chain route. I think a big part of that was actually those cavalry strikes, though. So, anyway, we'll do one more fight, and I will see you when I've got an opponent for that. And we're back. As you can see, we've switched up our army, but have gotten a Fall of the Samurai army, so we have to change everything once again. I want to try for this very heavy cavalry style, which I'm going to actually still do, but I do need to switch things up just a little bit since I want a little bit more melee punch with my swordsman, just in case he's got a lot of those very powerful sword units that you can potentially take. I also want a large screening component, so I'm just going to spam these guys since this guy's impatient. He favors a balanced army. Okay. I think this should do relatively okay. I've got this one unit of Naginata Warrior Cavalry and these Katana Cavalry because they're very good against infantry if they can get in there. Once they've sort of made it into melee, they shred infantry really hard. I'm not sure if this army setup is going to work. I don't think it actually will, but it should be fun nonetheless, just because it's sometimes fun to have an army that's sort of very direct, aggressive kind of charge army. I was hoping that I'd be against a classic army, but I do prefer keeping it on mixed avatars allowed, just so that I have that variety, that surprise. What I'm hoping for this particular case, though, is that, you know, if I'm lucky, he'll have that very Shogutai heavy army. I think this would do very well against that, unless he has a lot of Kyoto police or a lot of Yarikachi, and Yarikachi are fairly weak. So, hopefully that won't be the case. If he also has a lot of guns, I should be okay. Really, this should be an all-around solid strategy, I think. It depends slightly on how good my opponent is at kiting and how much cavalry of his own that he brought. If he brought something like 6 units of Yariki, or whatever the cavalry version is referred to as, then I might be in a little bit of trouble. But as you can see, we've got the Sword Dojo dead center. There's the Archery Dojo on the left. I'm going to deploy for this hill since I want to deny him that Archery Dojo just in case. But in all odds, this is going to be too fast moving for me to honestly get any shrines in the first place. What I want is the huge wave of swordsmen right dead up front. Want my wave of powerful swordsmen directly behind them, and hopefully I've got enough cavalry of my own to counter whatever cavalry he's got. Now the problem with the Katana Cavalry, obviously, is that they don't have any bonuses against Cav. So they're a bit of a liability here if that's the case, but they're very strong against infantry. So everything's about those trade-offs, and it looks like we are relatively good to go. So let's get this started. Hopefully he won't have that 150 range, Imperial Guard Cavalry. That would just suck. I don't think he actually can, though, because his general isn't the right kind. He has got the United States Marines. He's got a Parrot gun, which is a cannon. I'm going to dismount my general, just because, again, dismounted units take less casualties. And I'm going to run everybody forward as fast as possible. Now, he almost definitely has got something hidden, but then again, he has got very expensive units. Those Parrot guns, very expensive. Those United States Marines, very, very expensive. So he might be in a position where he doesn't have that tremendous amount in reserve. Yeah, you can see that deadly cannon shot. I'm actually going to move everything, all my Katana Samurai into loose formation, my Lone Sword Ashigaru into loose formation, and I'm going to start moving around my Yari Cavalry, since they're the ones that I want to sort of threaten his cannon with. Now, the thing is, of course, I'm almost guaranteeing that this guy's got some form of protection hidden in those forests to try and stop me from using my cavalry against him, because he wants to keep those parrot guns firing for as long as possible. Yeah, you can see his cav moving out. It's probably 2 Yari Ki. I don't think he'll actually have a third. But let's run my cav directly at him as best I can. Okay, so what I want to do is get one of my Naginata, or get my Naginata cavalry in there and charge forward with these guys. I want to make sure that I'm along the flank so I'm not getting into the fire arc of these units. But here's basically how we're going to do this. We're going to just stretch these guys out behind there. We're going to move our swords into a position where they can charge. And yeah, just charge straight in there. Oh, crap, he has got more cavalry. Okay, well, this is going to be a bit of a race then. Okay, so my cav on the left are going to break through. And I need to move my other cavalry back, and these guys are going to charge straight down here. Since they've distracted away those Yari Ki, I can move back my cavalry, and they'll screen for me a bit here. Let's get these guys into his general, get my reserve wave of infantry in there. So his cavs just buggered off. I think he's mismanaged them by accident here. Let's get these guys inspired. And let's rally everybody. So that ought to fix all those problems I'm having there. Let's get my Yari cavalry, charge them over here into these Yari Ki. And I'm going to dismount these other Yari cavalry. So my Yari cavalry, much stronger unit left. They've got more than twice their number. I've got veterancy, I don't think his do. I've wrapped up his army so they'll break almost on contact. So that worked out well. So his units way the heck over here. They're not going to be able to do anything in this particular fight. They're way just too far back. I'm going to rearrange my units. I'm not going to dismount my other Yari Ki. His units have actually broken just because his army was doing so poorly in general. And yeah, that's sort of how I like to use armies sometimes, just very, very aggressively, especially against those Fall of the Samurai armies. It would have worked a little bit differently if he didn't have that cannon, just because it was worth so many units and it didn't get to fire very much since I was running in aggressively. So the cannon was the big thing that helped me win that. If your opponent has a cannon and you can rush in and attack him before it can really do anything, then you're probably in a good position. Anyway, this is probably going to be my last match for today, but I'll be sure to make some more matches later on in the week. Potentially, probably tomorrow, actually. Today's Saturday. When I'm recording this, they'll probably be out on Monday. And I'll probably have another for Wednesday out. I also want to get my Bioshock done, and I want to do a little more relaxing with Yukitsu. Not sure if I'm going to go back immediately to Amnesia. I might go into FTL again. Those are all good games that I enjoy playing. I might actually even start another, just because, like, relaxing is just whatever I want to feel like playing at a time. It's not supposed to be a serious Let's Play or completion Let's Play or anything like that. It's just me having fun. And, you know, if you're having fun, why not record it? Alright, so, yeah, you can see that part of the strategy was the sheer number of people that I had deployed. 1,335 people deployed. I lost 529 and only killed 675. He probably outnumbered me, but having that huge wave of infantry in the front really helps out. finally got these Naginata Samurai. You look at their statistics, they're all very average to high. That's because Naginata Samurai are sort of that well-rounded unit. They're good at everything, but they're not great at anything. What you typically use them for is a defensive wall, since what they are actually excellent at is their armor. Their armor is very high, so they can stonewall units very effectively. So we're just going to look at our unit statistics here. As you can see, like these sword attendants, yeah, they basically just got shredded to pieces, ran away before they could actually contribute anything, and that's just their job. My Katana Samurai, on the other hand, they got in there and they did a nice bit of work. One of the units got shot up a little bit more than the others, one of them got there a little bit later, but generally, all my sword units did sort of homogenously. Lone Swords obviously took more casualties in the process, but that's sort of how they work. My Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry, they were fighting nothing but my opponent's cavalry as well, so they did very well, 89 kills to 24 losses. Both my other units of Yari Cavalry, they did fairly well as well. I don't think I got quite as solid a charge with them in that initial clash, but yeah, those are very good kill rates for cavalry. My Katana Cavalry as well, they managed to come in at the last second and helped push his units out faster. Not a great use of them. I don't think I should have used them a little bit earlier, but I did want to make sure that they didn't take any volleys since they're very susceptible to guns. My opponent's units, he's got these Yariki. He had them in 2 wings, which in this case was good in some respects, but not in others. What he really needed to do was to charge them in and immediately kill both of my Katana Cavalry, while I thought that he had all of his other ones guarding his cannon. His cannon, 37 kills, which is really low. United States Marines, very, very expensive unit, very powerful unit. They got 168 kills, mostly infantry running in to try and stop them from shooting. Imperial Infantry, also a very expensive unit, but they did far worse. I'm not really sure why. Normally they do fairly well. Red Bears. Red Bears are a little bit strange. Out of all the bear infantry types, they're the best at melee, but the worst at shooting. So the fact that they got 83 kills, 72 kills is mostly to do with the fact that they were actually pretty decent in melee combat. So they're probably killing a lot of sword attendants. Anyway, this is probably, yeah, that's going to be the last match for today. This has been the Yukitsu Times. I hope you found this informative, and I hope to see you all next time.